Hello everyone, it's Mr. Barden here. This is going to be a relatively short video. I'm doing it just holding my phone up here. I'm going to be just talking real quick about some handheld recorders. I've got 3 of them here on my desk. These 2 are the ones that I have for the classroom. We have a set of, I think, about 10 of them between the 2 different kinds. And then I've got my personal handheld recorder over here. So we'll start with these. I only bring up my personal one just because I bring it just in case we need another option in case the one there isn't quite enough. So these 2 recorders do, well actually all 3 of them do kind of the same thing, and that is they have microphones on one end. You can see them all right there. Some kind of screen and button interface, and then they can play the sound back. That's the core of it right there. So what these do is these will record whatever you're pointing at it in stereo and save it as a file right to this device. So this is nice and handy because you can turn it on. All of them have slightly different aspects, but you can turn them all on. What do we set it volume-wise? Let's turn you down. There, and then they all have a little SD or micro SD card, and then we can hit the button. So now I am holding it, pointing it towards my face and talking. It should still be fine, even though there is a phone in the way. And then if we go through here, let's see, play. So now I am holding it, pointing it towards my face and talking. It should still be fine, even though there is a phone in the way. Alright, so that's the core of what these do, is these just make a pretty nice recording with not a whole lot of anything else needed. They do have tiny little speakers embedded. There's that one here. This one is on the back, just like this one on the back right here. The speakers are complete garbage, so don't rely on them for, quality sound. You can plug in headphones to all of these if you want, or you can go and, if you turn them off, you can then go and input the card right into the computer. So these 2 have micro SD cards, so there'll be an adapter, but you just plug them in and go find them, and there's the file to use however you want. It's usually just in a little media folder on the device, but they are slightly different. I'm gonna have a dedicated here's what it looks like when you plug them in little lesson for my students. But they're those 2. My third one I'm just gonna kind of leave over there. But again, you turn them on. For the Tascams, you hold the power on, and this is where they start to become a little bit unique. So you should point the microphone capsules at whichever thing you're gonna record, and you'll get different results being really close versus being more far away. But you should be kind of close. To use the Tascams, you have to click the record button once to basically get it ready to record. And you'll see that it's flashing. You'll see that the bars go up for sounds, and that represents the volume. So if I snap right over here, you can kind of see that one's a little bit louder, but it's flashing. Nothing's happening until we hit record again. So now that I've hit record a second time, the record light is solid, and we can see that the number on the screen is ticking up. Alright, that is how and it'll also say recording right there, but that's how you'll know that it is recording, is with the solid light and the ticking up number. And then you can pause it by hitting record, or if you hit stop, it will stop it completely, and then the next time you record, it'll be a separate file. So if we stop it, it stops, I hit record, nothing's happening, I hit record again, and now we're recording in a separate file from before. You'll see the name of the file right there, so you'll know what to look for in the file browser. So that's the Tascam ones. Again, we can navigate through the menus and play them all just using this interface. The Zoom ones are just a hair different, but they perform the same task. So again, we have more buttons for adjusting settings and stuff if we need that. For what we're going to do, we really don't have to worry too much about it. To turn it on, you instead slide it on. This one's got a handy little feature where if you toggle this in the opposite direction, then the buttons don't do anything. They essentially get ignored. So that's handy if you need that. This one also has that on the side right here. You just slide it up, and then it'll ignore button presses until you untoggle it. So this one works similarly, and again does all the things, except you'll notice there's this knob here, and this is a thing a lot of the Zoom brand recorders do. This is Zoom brand. There's where it says Zoom, right there at the top of the screen. But this controls essentially the input volume. So just 10 is maximum volume. It might be a bit much for what you need, so I like to set mine right at about 7 as a place to start, and then go from there. And it's basically just whatever number is at the top. There's a little notch that lines it up, so that's what we're setting it at. 7, I think, is good, but you're less likely to blow it out at a very loud sound. Again, you can test the volumes. You don't want them to be maxing out. You want them to kind of be stopping right around -12 to -6, give or take. But again, you can adjust settings and so forth, but you just hit record once, and now we're recording. It's you can see that the number is ticking up. That's the key thing there, and we've got the solid light. So we have all that. Zoom 009, I could hit stop recording, start recording, and now we're just going again with a different file. So again, this one works a little bit simpler, but it is important to know that, again, to record, you have to hit the Tascam's record button twice. You do not have to do it with the Zoom, and you can just stop it and start it again, and it'll record it in a separate file. So those are those two there. Let me bring this one back just to turn it off. Oop, there we go. My personal one I have right here is another Zoom brand. It's a different model of their same little handy recorders, but we can turn it on. And this one is similar in aspects to these, only it's just got a little bit more oomph. And this is far from Zoom's oomphiest of recorders, but this one I like because I can plug in 2 external things as needed, and I can also take off the top here, and they have various capsules that you plug in for different setups. So it might be different kinds of microphones. It might be I have one that is just more inputs, like so. It's very, very handy, but you can change the the configuration of these and the volume and all that. So that's what this is. Let me just set my phone down and plug this back in. All right, it's angry at me right now because I plugged it in, or I unplugged it while it was on. So let me just turn that back on now that it's plugged in. Let me turn it back on now that it is plugged in, and we'll look at a few things. So with this one, it's again very similar to the small little Zoom controllers, and the fact that we need to turn up the volume. So we can set that with a knob right there. There's some handy little bars to keep us from bumping that accidentally. But for the microphone up top, when you have the left and right, that's the knob you use, is up here at the top. The ones at the bottom are for the bottom ones down here. And you'll notice that the labeling is consistent. 1 and 2, 1 and 2 are down here. You'll see that when we're ready to record, it'll light up a light by what we're selecting. It will be a stereo thing, so if you notice that 1 and 2 are selected, you're not going to record anything unless you've plugged it into 1 and 2. So you just need to make sure that for this class, we'll probably just need left and right selected, and we can just ignore these knobs right here. After that, it's the same thing as the other Zoom players. So you press the record button, and then the solid record light is popping up, and then it's saying things. You want to talk generally directly into the microphones. Point them at what you want to record. We can then stop, and we can play it back. So you press the record button, and then the solid record light is popping up, and then it's saying things. You want to talk generally directly into the microphones. Point them at what you want to record. And there it is. You can play them back just like beforehand. This one is set up to do some very, relatively speaking, higher quality recordings, but they do have those beeps at the beginning and end because of how I use my own personal device. Too bad if you don't like it, use the other ones. So that's just with this one, you want to record and then maybe wait a second before and after whatever you're recording, just so your the beep doesn't get in the way. So that's what I have right there. You'll notice though that again, it got louder when I pointed it at what I was talking at, being me. But moving it around while it's recording can create a lot of noise, so we want to avoid that as much as possible. I think this one also can connect via USB, but it's god-awful slow for transferring big files, so I like to use the SD cards. And again, you just unplug those, plug them into the computer, and you just go to the media file, and the files are there. You can just copy them, delete them, whatever you need to do, right into the computer, so we can import them very easily into our DAWs. So that's going to be it for me, just kind of wrapping out. Again, this is just a quick little overview. Hey, here is what a handheld recording device does, how they work. Here's the ones I use for the class. I'll make a little separate one for what happens after you go from SD card into the computer, but this is just the physical units themselves, and they're all pretty simple. You turn them on, you point them at what you want to record, and hit record. In the case of the Tascam, you hit record twice, and that's pretty much it. Again, these are intended to be very small, very handy. And just easy to stick in your pocket and take somewhere to record whatever you need. It's much easier than lugging around a whole desk setup to record stuff. So I like hanging on to these, and you should hopefully enjoy using them, because we're going to use these before we use the more expensive, easy to break microphones. So that's going to be it from me, and I'll see you all the next time that I see you. Bye.